Hey everyone, it's FBA Michaela here. It's been a little bit since I've made my last YouTube video, and I've gotten a lot of requests and messages trying to get me to do an FBM video for Q4, so I guess here we go. As everyone knows who follows me on Instagram, I'm a huge FBMer when it comes to seasonal items, just like back to school, a little bit of Halloween, and of course Q4. I will say that this is my first Q4 on Amazon. I did do Q4 stuff on eBay, so I'm going to be using whatever knowledge and experience that I had with like back to school, for example, and kind of apply that knowledge and use that to do really well during this Q4. So yeah, here's my little blueprint that I made out. It kind of goes over the main key points of doing FBM. So buying the right supplies is a huge thing. You do not want to be without your supplies. So if you list something and then you're like, oh man, I don't have my supplies, then obviously that is no good. So before you start doing FBM, I honestly think that you should kind of get your stuff prepared. So boxes, tape, bubble wrap if you're going to be shipping anything that could be like fragile or be broken. If you're going to do stuff that can be sent in a bag instead of a box, so something that's a little more flexible, like clothing or whatever, socks, shoes, etc., you can put that in a poly mailer bag, and that will save you some on shipping. I order all of my supplies on Walmart.com for like the boxes. For example, if it's like something bigger that needs to be in like a moving box, I'd buy those from Walmart. They're like $2, nothing too expensive. And then the rest I buy my shipping supplies itself, like the tape, the bubble wrap, and all of that on Amazon. It's just the best way for me to do it, and it's the cheapest that I found. And for like individual boxes that are smaller that you can't obviously buy at Walmart, I use USPS. They have free ones. They have a variety depending on what kind of shipping you're doing, like priority, first class, flat rate, etc. Just make sure if you're doing USPS and you're using their boxes that you're using the right labels. Like, don't put a first class sticker on a priority mail package. That you can't do that. Trust me, I did that the first time I started doing FBM, and they're like, yeah, you can't do that. So don't do that. Save yourself the hassle. Just stick to whatever it says on the box. If it says priority, then it needs a priority label. Another huge thing, ensuring that you do not run out of supplies. You do not want to have 600 orders and have only $100 worth of supplies. You don't want to be caught without any supplies. So definitely stock up heavier than usual. I'm buying probably 2 times as much as I usually do. Worst case scenario, you have excess, then you just use it the next quarter or whatever. It's not going to expire or anything. I always stock heavy when it comes to seasonal stuff because you just never know. Volume is going to be so high that you just have to stock up heavy. Also, don't spend a fortune on supplies. I don't buy from Uline. I know a lot of people like praise them, they love them. I just personally think that it's just too expensive. If you know me personally, I'm very stingy when it comes to shipping supplies and supplies in general. I do not like to spend money on supplies that are going to be thrown away. So I often reuse stuff. So say, for instance, I get like a Prime box from Amazon or an unbranded box from one of my suppliers. I just reuse those whenever possible. I even have some of my the patients at where I go to physical therapy, and I have the actual physical therapist and the workers there giving me their extra boxes whenever they have them, because it saves, obviously. I don't have to spend a bunch of money on supplies. I could just reuse, and it's better for the environment anyway. Another thing people seem to have a lot of trouble with is creating your shipping template. I always get messages like, I don't know what I'm doing with my shipping template. I lost money. What did I do wrong? So what I would recommend, obviously everybody's a little different, so obviously experiment with your shipping template, but the main thing that I did to mine was change the expedited and the 2-day shipping. So I increased both of them by a couple of dollars. Obviously, when we get closer to Christmas, prices are going to be going up anyway, so then obviously you need to change that even more. Once you get to like the week or two before Christmas, people are going to pay crazy amounts just to have their stuff here in time. So take advantage of that. You could honestly be making money off the shipping label itself just because of how people really just want their stuff to get here in time for Christmas. Another huge thing, purchasing good FBM items. You don't want to be purchasing items that aren't good for FBM. So say, for instance, you find a product and you look on there and you see that the majority of the sellers are FBA sellers and that maybe there's only a couple FBM. Well, always look at the offers tab and look at the buy box share and make sure that sellers are actually getting those, because you do not want to be on a listing that's dominated by only FBAers, because you're not going to get that share. And maybe they're only getting a small percentage of the share and they're only selling a few units a month. Then you have to decide, okay, really, is that worth it for me or not? I always source FBA, then FBM, because I am a FBA seller. Even though I sell a lot of FBM, like I said, I source FBA. I always love to double dip on my listings. A majority of my seasonal and my FBM stuff is double dipped. So what I mean by that is I list FBA and FBM, which is allowed. That's the only exception to that. You just can't do FBA twice or FBM twice, but you can have FBA and FBM present on the same listing. And obviously change the price or whatever you have to do. That way, that if something does go sideways and I can't sell it FBM, then I can just sell it FBA. And, obviously you're being favored when you're doing FBA, so you're probably going to sell it at a much faster rate, sending it in FBA. Seasonal items are perfect for FBM, because you're going to take advantage of price spikes and, increase in demand. So the main reason why I love doing FBM for seasonal items is because I can get in and out very quickly. So if I see something like go up in price, so for instance, a toy, it goes up to like $60. Well, I can hurry up, buy the product, get it sent to my house, list it ASAP, and get it sold before that price starts to dwindle down and a bunch of competition jumps on. So it kind of just helps with risk as well, which we're going to talk about here in a few. But it's honestly one of the best ways to do seasonal, because you're not going to be stuck holding the bag. If you send in an FBA and you send it in too late, then you're going to be left with holding the bag at the end. Or maybe too many people jumped on and they tanked the price. Then you're going to be left holding the bag. And I don't know about you, but I do not want to pay removal fees and all the extra Amazon fees on something that doesn't sell, when I could have just sold at FBM and mitigated my risk a lot more. So fully maximizing your Q4 sales using FBM is very, very important. You want to send in as much FBA as possible and then switch over to FBM. I am going to send in as much as I can up until probably the first week of November-ish. And then I'm going to start switching over to FBM, just because I want to make sure everything does get there in time. I don't like playing the chance game. And I also just want my stuff to be checked in the first round. I don't want to be checked in the second round. My philosophy is I want to be the first one in and not the last one out. So the way to do that is obviously just to send in as much as you can FBA. And then once you feel that period that you're like, and everybody's kind of different. Some people have a higher risk tolerance than I do. But like I said, I don't want to be playing the what ifs game. Like, what if this doesn't arrive by the second week or the first week of December? It's just not something that I want to do. So the major thing with Black Friday that people always ask me, how am I supposed to send that into FBA? Well, I'm honestly not going to be sending anything that I bought for from Black Friday in through FBA. And it's because I just don't think that's enough time for you to honestly get there. You got to remember that check-in times are going to be like twice as long. You don't want to be left wondering if it's going to make it in time. And then if it's a seasonal item, like a true seasonal item, like say for instance, it's like a toy that only sells this well during Christmas, then you're like, okay, well, if it doesn't get there in time, it's not going to sell at the right time period, and then I'm probably going to have to remove it and return it or whatever. So I'm going to buy heavy during Black Friday, and then I'm going to switch to FBM. I'm going to have everything stored at my house, and it's risk-free. So remember how I just said about the risk-free thing? You order something, you get it sent to your house, or you go do the order pickup or whatever it may be. Retail arbitrage, doesn't matter. You take it home, you store it at your house, you do not pay any kind of storage fees, you don't pay any removal fees in the event that it doesn't sell, or if the price tanks, or too many sellers jump on it, whatever the case may be. So you're saving yourself money, and you're just basically giving yourself extra assurance that if something does go sideways, then I can just easily just take it back. So you're able to also capture a lot more sales when you're doing both FBA and FBM. And I'll kind of give you an example. So say you have a seller that is doing only FBA. Well, that seller is going to only be able to stock up so much, because all of us don't have an infinite amount of money. So they say, for instance, they sell out the first week of December. Well, that's great. They made their money. They're happy with it. But slide in me now I can do FBA and FBM, and then say, for instance, my FBA stuff also sells out the first week of December, just like the other seller. But now I had the added bonus of doing FBM, and that itself will give me extra sales because I can have this stuff sent to my house. It's ready to go. I don't have to, do the check-in times. And you know what I mean? Like, I'm not competing with those people anymore because they have no stock. So I can just jump in, take their stock, and, make a lot of money just doing FBM alone. And a lot of people say FBM is a lot of work, and I understand that. But I came from eBay, and eBay is a lot more work than Amazon FBM. So definitely try it out. It doesn't hurt to try, like I said, risk-free. If something doesn't sell, you can always just take it back. So yeah, I hope this was really informative. If you guys have any questions or comments, comment below. As always, like and subscribe for more. I'm hoping to post a few more videos, obviously, before quarter 4 ends. So see you guys.